Since 2016, the people of Iran have taken to the streets in an unprecedented display of defiance against the regime. All throughout major cities such as Mashhad and Tehran, citizens have been agitating with passion, with women defying the hijab law and youth brashly shouting death to the dictator. This, I remind you, in a system with little tolerance for dissent. Their actions have upended Iran and indeed the entire world. Analysts are scrambling to find out possibly why a people who have over 40 years worked and voted happily under a democratic Islamic government would participate in such outbursts of violence, the most intense domestic challenge to the administration in a decade. In the confusion and chaos, in the saturation of fake news and ideological vitriol, it is my pleasure to sift out the needles from the hay, to bring you what no other mainstream bourgeois news establishment will. The facts. The cold, hard facts. The facts that no one else wants you to know about. Welcome to the Lighthouse, where we will illuminate the world around you through whatever means necessary. To help us understand this issue with a truly multifarious approach, I have the great honor to have with me right here, right now, in this studio, two guests who can shed light on this vaudeville of social catalysis. Straight from the Faculty of Politics, Associate Professor of Elaboration Daniel Verbosi from the University of Cambridge, to dissect these happenings better than I ever could with a sheep's heart back in high school.
Thank you for this very flattering praise. Sadly, I am not deserving of such wonderful praise.
I am sure you are. Now, we have a very special guest. One who is, in a manner of speaking, really at the heart of this entire fracas. Mr. Muhammad Jebin Al-Ankur, a vibrant and ideal-driven youth from the city of Rash, major boiling pot of disenfranchised individuals. Salam, Sabbahir, Mr. Muhammad. I cannot express how happy, how so excited I am to be with you right here, right now. Mr. Muhammad, your thoughts on this issue will be a wonderful and authentic experience.
Oh, thank you, Sabbahir Jason. This is a great opportunity for me, really. Feel like this is actually a warm and comforting studio compared to my smoke-filled streets of Rash and the cold medicinal walls of Zurich Airport. Here in Switzerland with you, I cannot wait to talk with the world.
Wow, I'm glad you feel that way. So, Jebin, you're in your 20s and you study in a university in Tehran, right?
Yeah, Iran University of Science and Technology to be exact. I had a wonderful time there.
So you've led a pretty ordinary yet satisfactory life. In fact, your life was probably planned out in front of you. So why all this anger and why now of all times?
Well, previously, we Iranian citizens were actually leading a rather decent and content life. But however, the government obviously is not that helpful, and now our economy is not improving that much. Our food prices in Iran have rose, and our leaders are corrupt. They are actually sending more money to fund terrorists than to actually provide a better life for their citizens. It's not even fair to any of us.
Well, actually, from World Bank's data on the Iran economy, it has been stated that 2016's real GDP change percentage is 13.4% as compared to 2015's contraction of 1.4% due to the oil sector economic growth from the sanction relief after the negotiated nuclear deal. And although the unemployment rate, which is defined as the percentage of people who are able and willing to work being unable to find suitable employment, has increased slightly from 12.4% to 12.6%, due to the labour participation rate increasing from 35.4% to 40.4%. And finally, the poverty level has decreased from 13.1% to 8.1% from 2009 to 2013, due to a CAAS investment replacing subsidies on energy and bread. So yeah, I don't think Iran's economy is actually suffering.
Yeah, put all the numbers and statistics you want. You know, even in the economy looks like it's rising, it's just more of the rich people earning compared to the poor. This actually stretches the gap in between the rich and the poor and is obviously not beneficial to us. Furthermore, economic problems is not the only reason why we are angry and demand a replacement for the current supreme leader.
I believe, with legitimate evidence to back me up, that the true motivation for the Iranian protest is not political, nor is it social, but it is based on the misguided view that Iranian economy is backed by the Iranian citizens.
So what exactly would you like to see changed in Iran in the future? As in, how could Iran improve for the better in your opinion?
You mean like, are you referring to what we want to achieve as revolutionaries?
Well, if you want to put it that way, then yeah.
Well, then about this, I want the corruption of our leaders to end, and our money actually is more usefully and spent on improving the lives of the citizens than just squander away needlessly. Furthermore, I want an improvement on the economy because of how we have many unsuccessful economic policies from our president, and that now it's not very beneficial for us. So I want an overhaul so that we get our citizens have a stable job, and we no longer suffer from high food prices. And outside our economic problems, I also want our leaders to stop the barbaric censorship of our social media and actually give us the freedom to speak all our minds.
Professor, anything to add?
While these goals are all fine and good, do you actually think that these protests will help achieve them? Or will they just replace one problem for another version of the same problem, like in the Egyptian Revolution of 2011? Furthermore, have the 1999 student protests succeeded, 2005 Asma protests, 2009 presidential election protests? Who do you think can change all of this and make it better?
What do you mean by making Iran better? You know, Iran was a great civilization for over 2,500 years, right? Our mighty empire spread out the navel of the world. We made massive contributions to the wealth and the education of the rest of the world. This is not simply improving Iran's current state. After all, you don't see protests everywhere in Africa, do you? This is about restoring our former glory, about reversing the manner power that Khamenei and his henchmen have turned my glorious country into. It is about defining Iran the way we, the people of Iran, deserve to be. One in which we all work together for a free society with modern beliefs towards a common future, which is more than just sticking true to religious values and picking fights with the Saudis and the US.
I see. Those are indeed noble sentiments. In that case, would you and the other protesters look forward to the reinstatement of the Pahlavi dynasty as the ruling house of Iran?
Well, to me, it matters not who rules, but I want to know how they rule.
Finally, one statement I can agree with. While it has been claimed that the Shah are better than the current government, corruption is going on in both cases. But in the case of the Shah rulers, the money and resources is going out of the country. While in the current case, at least the money and resources are being invested back in the country through whatever forms they are, and thus I disagree with that claim.
There has been speculation about the future of the Iranian government. What outcomes do you foresee?
I foresee the protests achieving nothing like the ones before them. Successive protests require both the impairment of daily functioning of a country and sufficient widespreadness not to be forcefully suppressed by the government. Like the 2009 presidential election protests, which did impair the country's daily functions, but was eventually suppressed due to not enough civilian involvement. And the Egyptian Revolution of 2011, which also involved the daily impairment of the country, but which also involved the whole country and was thus eventually successful. And neither of these qualities have appeared in the current protests, thus I believe that this protest will achieve nothing.
We have many citizens out there in favor of ending this dictatorship. You don't see Iran having like a small group of protesters out there hiding in one tiny area. We have people all around all of Iran in favor and supportive of this. Furthermore, many international committees out there fully agree to how we have been suppressed for a long time and that we are deserving of a better life. This regime has to end right now.
Thank you, Mr. Mohammed and Mr. Verbosi, for the enlightening views brought forward today. While it certainly was an eye-opening session here, I fear the hand of capitalistic values have overtaken us. Yes, that's right. The Lighthouse will now take a short commercial break before we resume with our involved conversation about this pertinent issue. Stay tuned. My life is so stressful. I've got so many concerns and worries. Everyone wants me to do this, do that. It's all one big rush. My heart is constantly palpitating away, and there's no relief for me. It feels like one big endless tunnel. I have no escape, no happiness.
What's that? Feeling the pinch of modern life, are you? Well, we as Finance Pharmaceuticals have just the right tonic for you.
Yeah, right. As if I believe any of that. Do you know, I have 5 math assignments, 2 CS tutorials, and I even have to organize SUYC 2018, which, for your information, is the best model you read anywhere. Like, I don't think your crack bills can solve any of that.
Well, say what you will, but don't make a judgment until you've tried just one of these.
Go on.
Pirates, simply the best in hijacking your senses.
So, I decided to do something very special and invite Mr. Ali Khamenei over here to as part of our talk show.
Mr. Ali Khamenei? Why did you don't use the theater? I am Ali Khamenei, the supreme leader of Iran.
Welcome back to One and All. So far, we've had some contrasting opinions about the recent Iranian protests from both Mr. Verbosi and Mr. Mohammed. But now, a special surprise for all of us. Right here, right now, in this studio today, we have none other than Ali Khamenei himself, the supreme leader of Iran. So, supreme leader, judging by the past situations which were similar, such as the Iranian Green Movement, what are some of the main conflicts you expect to see in this protest?
Actually, your comparison of the current violence to the Iranian Green Movement is inaccurate because that conflict was between Mousavi, who alleged of irregularities in the election, and Ahmadinejad, the rightfully elected president. It was mere political brawling that I myself dealt with swiftly by proving there were no irregularities and maintaining law and order. These recent riots and acts of vandalism, however, have no logical basis or necessity, especially since our nation is going through a period of greater political freedom and prosperity than ever before. To answer your question, however, the main conflict here is between the foreign enemies of the Islamic Republic and the people of Iran who are being affected by such large-scale disruption or are being misled by claims of economic stagnation and whatnot.
I see. Indeed, that is quite an interesting viewpoint. And that is why we have invited you here to present the real, cold, hard facts. Now, Mr. Khamenei, what is your viewpoint on Western influence in Iran, both in the past and currently?
Really, in the past, foreign influence was limited to direct measures in order to safeguard their income flows, such as the coup back in 1953, instigated by the British and the United States in order to safeguard their petroleum companies, which were being nationalized by a democratically elected government of Prime Minister Mossadegh. Instead, they strengthened the rule of the Shah. But now, in these modern times, their interference has evolved to become hybrid warfare, in fact, in which they will no longer use overt military, but instead manipulate our people to engage in meaningless violence against the state.
So, speaking again about the protests, the protesters have also been angry about apparent human rights abuse cases. Do you admit that there are such cases in Iran?
Of course not. What kind of country do you think we are? North Korea? Naturally, we may be lacking in some areas, and of course the Western media is quick to inflate this. But as our President Rouhani has already mentioned in his statements, we are building up and we are working on improving what we provide to our people who already have many basic freedoms, such as the freedom of self-expression.
Moving back to the issue of the current open rebellion against the government, could you enlighten us about some actions your president's government is taking to tackle this issue?
Oh, it's simple, my friend, really simple. What is this really? It's just criminal activity against us. It is simply an attempt to put a chokehold on our economy, to bring the country to a standstill. It is simply a couple of good-for-nothing rowdies going around about our streets and disturbing the peace. So obviously we just use law enforcement to solve this. Because when you take these misguided attempts by our youth to supposedly get a brighter future, these attempts that have some shred of good ideals within them, and when you clamp down on them, like Egypt attempted to do, when you use brute force, that is where your downfall comes. You look at Syria, you look at Egypt, all of their governments have been destroyed in a shameless debacle of events that the Western media dubs the Arab Spring. And because of this, we have realized that it is much more prudent to be gentle and to guide our people onto the right path.
Thank you, Mr. Khamenei. Okay, seeing as we are apparently a little bit short on time, last question. Do you believe that the influence played by Western powers have had a role in sparking the anger of these protesters?
Of course, in fact, foreign powers have played the most significant role in sparking the anger that fuels these protests through their constant supply of funding to certain groups such as the Mujahideen, or their spread of misinformation, what they themselves call fake news.
Thank you for your insightful sharing, Mr. Khamenei. It has been a great honor hosting you here with us today. It has also been a great opportunity for us to explore the various different viewpoints of learned scholars, the protesters themselves, and a member of the government on these protests. And I think through their sharing, we can safely conclude that the protests are futile, and the only way out of this economic and problematic situation is by supporting the legal establishments, such as the Iranian president's government, morally guided by Mr. Khamenei. Thank you also to all watchers for keeping in check with our today's edition of the Lighthouse. We hope to see you next time. Thank you, Mr. Khamenei, for being here with us today. We hope you enjoyed yourself as much as I did, and our viewers, I bet you they enjoyed it as well. The doors this way. Please allow me to escort you to the feast.
Yeah! How dare you! How dare you bring this dictator here and let him spread his propaganda? How dare you! How dare you support him? We want change and we want it now. We will remove this oppressive regime and have our freedom by any means necessary. Yeah! Yeah! Security! Yeah!
Alright, Jason.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to today's edition of Illuminati.
Jason, what? I'm trying. So, Mr. Kami, what is your viewpoint towards, what is your viewpoint on Western influence, both in the past and currently, the Western influence in Iran, both in the past? That is bad! Western.